In the heart of ancient Mesopotamia, around 2700 BCE, a conflict broke out between two Sumerian city-states, Lagash and Umma. This battle marked the beginning of organized warfare in human history, and it was primarily fought over one of the most valuable resources of the time: water. The land of Mesopotamia, often referred to as the cradle of civilization, was home to several city-states that vied for control over fertile lands, agricultural resources, and essential trade routes. The city-states of Lagash and Umma were neighbors, located in the region between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, where water was not only a lifeline for irrigation, but also a source of wealth and power. The conflict between these two cities arose as Umma, led by Lugal-Zaggisi, began to encroach upon Lagash's territory. Lagash, under the rule of King Eannatum, could not allow this encroachment to continue, as the control of water sources and fertile land was crucial for the survival and prosperity of his people. What started as a dispute over land rights and resources quickly escalated into a full-scale war. The Lagash-Umma War is significant because it represents one of the earliest instances in recorded history where city-states organized large-scale military forces to assert dominance. Both sides assembled formidable armies, complete with infantry, archers, and war chariots, a military innovation that gave the armies a decisive edge. This war marked a turning point in how societies would engage in conflict, with the strategic use of terrain, military organization, and technological advancements such as chariots playing a key role in the battle's outcome. One of the most remarkable artifacts documenting this conflict is the Stele of the Vultures, a stone monument that commemorates the victory of King Eannatum and the defeat of Umma. The Stele, which was created by the people of Lagash to celebrate their victory, is one of the earliest surviving records of war. It depicts Eannatum's forces triumphing over Umma, showing their soldiers in battle formations and the aftermath of the war, including prisoners being led away in chains. The stele's imagery is not just a record of military success. It also symbolizes the brutal consequences of warfare during this period, with defeated enemies being subjected to humiliation and captivity. The significance of the Lagash-Umma War goes far beyond the battle itself. It serves as an early example of how war was used to establish political control, influence trade, and secure resources essential for survival. It's also one of the first times in history that a war's outcome was recorded on such a grand scale, showcasing the importance of military victories in maintaining power and securing a city-state's future. The war and its aftermath would have set a precedent for how future conflicts were waged, not only in Mesopotamia, but throughout the ancient world. While the Lagash-Umma War may have been one of the first documented conflicts in human history, it was not the only early war fought for resources and land. However, it stands out because of the detailed records left behind, such as the Stele of the Vultures, which provide insight into the military tactics, the nature of the conflict, and the cultural importance placed on war as a means of securing dominance. The war highlighted the growing power of rulers like Eannatum, who used military might to solidify their control over key resources, and it paved the way for the further development of state-sponsored armies and war strategies. Though it was fought over relatively small territories, the Lagash-Umma War has a lasting legacy. It was one of the first times in history that we see the use of organized warfare, where professional soldiers, military strategies, and specialized technology like chariots were employed in battle. This early use of military force would lay the groundwork for the rise of empires and the increasingly sophisticated wars that would shape the ancient world in the centuries to come. Today, the Lagash-Umma conflict is often regarded as a starting point in the history of warfare, demonstrating the human drive to control resources, protect territories, and maintain power. It set in motion a long tradition of warfare and military strategy that would evolve into the complex battles and conflicts we recognize in later history. The echoes of this early war, with its strategic battles, military leaders, and lasting consequences, can still be seen in the way wars are fought today, over resources, power, and survival. Long ago, in a world where myth and history intertwined, three mighty empires, Durakar, Valtoria, and Erendor, stood at the peak of their power. For centuries, these empires had lived in a fragile peace, each ruling its domain with pride and strength. The mountain kingdom of Durakar, nestled within the harsh peaks, was a fortress of warriors, known for its unyielding resolve and ironclad rule. The sea empire of Valtoria, master of the oceans, commanded vast fleets that ruled the waves, while the valley dominion of Erendor, rich in fertile lands and agricultural prosperity, was a peaceful realm ruled by wisdom and diplomacy. But peace is a fragile thing, and by the year of the blood moon, the undercurrents of greed, ambition, and ancient rivalries could no longer be contained. In a desperate bid for dominance, King Alaric of Durakar launched the first strike, intent on claiming the seas for his kingdom by defeating Valtoria's naval might. The Battle of Storm's Edge, where Durakar's formidable mountain army clashed with Valtoria's unrivaled fleet, was a turning point that would set the stage for a war of unimaginable scale. For days, the stormy seas became a battlefield, ships splintered into the violent waves, and warriors fought valiantly in the chaos. The Sea Empire's Empress Seraphine, a brilliant tactician and strategist, fought fiercely to hold her ground, knowing that without her naval power, Valtoria's survival was in jeopardy. Yet, despite the strength of her fleets, Seraphine realized that to truly end Durakar's threat, she needed more than just victory at sea. She needed the fertile lands of Erendor to supply her empire with resources and soldiers. The eye of the storm now turned towards the peaceful kingdom in the valley. King Thalrun of Erendor, a ruler known for his wisdom and diplomacy, knew that his kingdom could not remain neutral for long. Despite his desire to avoid war, he could not ignore the encroaching forces of both Durakar and Valtoria. Erendor's lands, rich in agriculture, were too valuable to ignore, and soon the once prosperous kingdom found itself caught between two colossal empires. The ancient forces that ruled these lands would now collide in a way no one had foreseen. The once quiet valley became the battleground for a war that would change the course of history. The fateful day arrived, the Battle of the Valley of Echoes. This sacred land, once a place of myth and legend, was now a charnel ground, as the armies of Durakar, Valtoria, and Erendor faced off in a bloody conflict that spanned days. Thousands of soldiers, beasts of war, and towering siege engines collided on the battlefield, where the earth trembled with each charge. On one side, Durakar's heavy infantry, hardened by years of living in the mountains, pushed forward with brutal force. On the other, Valtoria's agile warriors, skilled in naval warfare and stealth, struck from the shadows, using the cover of night to their advantage. But it was Arendor, led by King Thalron, who would wield the greatest power in this conflict. Although vastly outnumbered, Thalron used diplomacy to form temporary alliances with both Valtoria and Durakar's factions, playing a dangerous game of balancing powers, hoping to survive and perhaps emerge with his kingdom intact. Amidst the fury of battle, legendary warriors from each empire faced one another in a series of brutal duels. King Alaric, a towering figure clad in armor, clashed with Seraphine's best generals, while Thalron led his soldiers with strategic brilliance, rallying his forces and keeping the line intact. Yet, in the end, no side could claim true victory. The Valley of Echoes lay in ruins, and the three empires, exhausted and broken, were forced to face the consequences of their greed and ambition. The war had taken a heavy toll on the land, with lives lost and cultures shattered. In the aftermath of the battle, the three rulers, King Alaric, Empress Seraphine, and King Thalron, met atop a high cliff overlooking the valley, surveying the devastation their conflict had wrought. The land was scarred, and the people, once proud of their empires, were left with nothing but the ruins of their past. It was clear that no single empire could claim ultimate victory. The Third Ancient War had ended in a stalemate, with the ancient powers realizing that their world could not be ruled by force alone. Instead, they would be forced to rebuild from the ashes, knowing that the peace they sought would come at a steep cost. The echoes of the war would remain in the songs of bards and the stories of elders, a reminder that the thirst for power often leads to destruction. The Third Ancient War had not only redefined the landscape, but also reshaped the destiny of its people. Though the war ended, the lessons it taught would endure for generations. Empires would rise again, but the shadow of this great conflict would hang over them, reminding all who would listen that power once sought comes with a price that only the gods can truly comprehend. The Second World War, one of the most cataclysmic conflicts in human history, forever altered the course of the 20th century. It was a war fought on an unimaginable scale, involving dozens of countries, stretching across continents and reshaping the global landscape. Yet, its origins were deeply embedded in the unresolved issues from the First World War. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, was meant to bring peace, but instead sowed the seeds of future conflict. The punitive terms imposed on Germany created economic turmoil, political instability, and a sense of humiliation that would be exploited by Adolf Hitler and his Nazi regime. Hitler's rise to power in the early 1930s marked the beginning of a new era of aggressive nationalism and expansionism. His regime sought to overturn the post-war order and pursued an ideology rooted in Aryan supremacy, racial hatred, and imperial conquest. By 1938, the Nazis annexed Austria, defying the peace established by the Versailles Treaty, and no one intervened. But it was the invasion of Poland on September 1st, 1939, that triggered the outbreak of war. Germany's blitzkrieg tactics, lightning-fast strikes using combined air and ground forces, overwhelmed Poland within weeks. In response, Britain and France declared war, but the speed and intensity of Germany's military might had already put the world on edge. The war quickly spread beyond Europe. As Germany expanded its reach across the continent, the skies of Britain darkened under the barrage of Nazi bombers. The Battle of Britain in 1940 was a defining moment in the early stages of the conflict. The Royal Air Force, against overwhelming odds, held firm, preventing a German invasion and marking the first significant defeat of Hitler's forces. Meanwhile, in the East, Hitler's forces turned their attention to the Soviet Union in June 1941. Operation Barbarossa, the largest military invasion in history, aimed to crush the Soviet Union and expand Nazi territory across Eastern Europe. The war on the Eastern Front became the deadliest, with unimaginable brutality, as millions of soldiers and civilians perished in the fighting. Yet, despite initial successes, Hitler's forces were halted by the fierce Soviet resistance, especially during the brutal siege of Stalingrad, which became a turning point in the war. Could Atlantis be a fable? A myth designed to warn future generations of the perilous consequences of moral and ethical decay? Despite these differing opinions, the search for Atlantis continues to capture the imagination of millions around the world. Over the years, a number of locations have been proposed as the possible site of the lost city, ranging from the Mediterranean, where many believe Atlantis sank after a massive volcanic eruption, to the Caribbean, where underwater ruins have sparked new interest. In recent years, some researchers have even proposed that Atlantis could be located beneath the ice sheets of Antarctica. What if the true location of Atlantis has been buried under centuries of ice and snow, waiting for the right technology to uncover it? This theory remains controversial, but it adds another layer of intrigue to the ongoing search. And that brings us to the burning question. Could these new findings really be proof that Atlantis existed? Or is this simply another case of mistaken identity, where the ruins of a long-forgotten civilization have been misinterpreted through the lens of legend? The truth is, we may never fully know the answer. As tantalizing as the evidence is, there's still much we don't understand about the mysterious city that Plato described. But one thing is certain. These discoveries are bringing us closer to uncovering the truth. And, with every new breakthrough, the legend of Atlantis becomes a little less myth and a little more reality. At this point, we want to hear from you. What do you think about these recent discoveries? Could the ruins discovered in the Mediterranean be the remnants of Atlantis? Or are we simply looking at another set of ancient ruins that don't match the legend? Do you believe that Atlantis was an actual place? Or is it just a myth that has been passed down for centuries? Leave a comment below with your thoughts and theories, because your input is just as important as the evidence itself. If you found this video intriguing, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to share it with your friends who love a good historical mystery. Together, let's continue the search for the truth behind Atlantis. This is just the beginning. As new discoveries continue to surface, we'll be here, diving into the history of Atlantis and other ancient mysteries, seeking to uncover the truth hidden beneath the surface of time. Make sure you subscribe to Ancient Echoes so you never miss an episode. Until then, keep wondering, keep exploring, and stay curious, because the past is full of secrets waiting to be uncovered. What if I told you that the story of Atlantis, the legendary lost city swallowed by the ocean, might not just be a myth? For centuries, this tale has captivated the imaginations of countless explorers, archaeologists, and dreamers alike. But what if new evidence has surfaced that challenges everything we thought we knew about Atlantis? Could this lost city be real? And if so, could we be closer than ever to uncovering its long-hidden secrets? Welcome back to Ancient Echoes, where we delve deep into the world's most compelling historical mysteries. Today, we're diving headfirst into the myth of Atlantis and exploring the possibility that the long-forgotten city might actually exist, and that we could soon uncover the truth about its fate. The story of Atlantis, first told by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato more than 2,000 years ago, has become one of the most enduring legends in history. According to Plato's writings, Atlantis was a magnificent island nation, far beyond anything we could imagine. It was an advanced civilization, rich in wealth, knowledge, and power, sitting at the center of the world's great empires. The Atlanteans were known for their remarkable architecture, vast naval fleets, and technological prowess. Yet, in a sudden and mysterious event, Atlantis vanished, its great cities swallowed by the sea in a cataclysmic disaster. For generations, scholars, adventurers, and historians have been captivated by this mystery, eager to uncover whether Atlantis was merely a fictional tale or a record of an actual lost civilization. The myth has inspired countless theories, ranging from speculative ideas about the existence of lost civilizations beneath the ocean's surface to scientific investigations into possible locations of this hidden world. From the Mediterranean to the Caribbean, people have searched for signs of Atlantis, but the mystery remains unsolved until now. That's right. In recent years, there have been new discoveries that could change everything we thought we knew about Atlantis. New underwater findings, coupled with ancient maps and cutting-edge technology, have brought us closer than ever to solving this age-old enigma. In 2024, a team of oceanographers and archaeologists exploring the depths of the Mediterranean Sea uncovered strange formations on the ocean floor. These structures, revealed by sonar imaging, appear to bear the unmistakable marks of human construction. Perfectly straight lines, right angles, and even what appear to be remnants of ancient walls and pathways. The oddity of these formations suggests that they could be remnants of an ancient, lost city, possibly Atlantis. These underwater ruins are located at a depth that matches some of the descriptions from Plato's writings. Could it be? Are we finally seeing evidence of the once great civilization that Plato spoke of? But the discoveries don't stop there. The ruins themselves seem to show signs of advanced technology, materials and techniques that suggest the people of Atlantis were far ahead of their time. Plato famously described Atlantis as a city filled with remarkable innovations. Ships powered by mysterious technologies, grand temples, and even machines capable of unimaginable feats. Some experts now speculate that the ruins discovered beneath the Mediterranean could be remnants of these very innovations. Could these underwater structures be proof that Atlantis was, in fact, a highly advanced civilization? Or are we simply looking at ruins from a much older civilization misinterpreted through the lens of myth? The evidence continues to mount. In addition to the underwater ruins, ancient texts, including those written by Plato, have been re-examined. And many of these writings seem to describe advanced technologies that were far beyond what was believed possible at the time. Some researchers have even pointed to connections between Atlantis and other ancient cultures, like the Egyptians or the Mayans, suggesting that the people of Atlantis might have shared knowledge or even influenced other civilizations. Could Atlantis have been a hub of ancient innovation, a lost city of scholars, inventors, and seafaring explorers who left behind a treasure trove of knowledge before disappearing into the depths? But even as the mystery of Atlantis grows more tantalizing, there is still much skepticism surrounding these discoveries. Critics argue that while the underwater ruins are compelling, they could simply be the remnants of other ancient civilizations or the natural formations of the ocean floor. There are those who believe that the story of Atlantis, as told by Plato, might not be an account of a real place at all, but rather a cautionary tale meant to warn future generations about the dangers of hubris, greed, and unchecked power. According to this view, Atlantis might never have existed, at least not in the way Plato described it, but rather serves as a symbol of mankind's potential downfall.
From the towering spires of Angkor Wat to the majestic columns of the Parthenon, ancient temples have always stood as symbols of human devotion, monumental artistry, and enduring mystery. These grand structures weren't merely places of worship, they were the heart of ancient civilizations, reflecting advanced knowledge of architecture, astronomy, and spirituality. But what if these temples hold secrets that have been hidden for centuries? In this video, we will uncover the hidden stories behind some of the world's most iconic and enigmatic temples, delving into their symbolic meanings, astronomical alignments, and the mysteries they conceal within their walls. Join me as we explore the profound and often overlooked truths of these ancient marvels and the whispers they still echo through time. Angkor Wat. Our journey begins in Cambodia, with one of the most magnificent temples ever built, Angkor Wat. Spanning an area of over 162 hectares, Angkor Wat is not only the largest religious monument in the world, but also a masterpiece of ancient Cambodian architecture. Originally constructed as a Hindu temple dedicated to Vishnu during the reign of King Suryavarman II in the 12th century, Angkor Wat was later transformed into a Buddhist site. At first glance, the temple's intricately carved bas-reliefs and towering spires make it a breathtaking sight. However, there's more to this temple than meets the eye. Hidden within its design lies an extraordinary cosmic map. The central tower, soaring nearly 65 meters above the temple grounds, is thought to represent Mount Meru, the sacred mountain in Hindu and Buddhist cosmology that is believed to be the center of the universe. Surrounding the central tower is a vast moat, which is symbolic of the oceans that encircle the world. The temple's grand layout and proportions are carefully designed to reflect the structure of the cosmos, but its secrets don't end there. Recent studies have uncovered that the layout of Angkor Wat is meticulously aligned with celestial events. In particular, the temple is aligned with the spring equinox. During this time, the sun rises directly over the central tower, casting a spectacular light show across the entire complex. This alignment suggests that the builders of Angkor Wat not only had a deep understanding of architecture, but also a sophisticated knowledge of astronomy, which they used to mark the passing of time and to honor their gods. The Parthenon. From the jungles of Cambodia, we now travel to the sun-kissed hills of Greece, where the Parthenon stands atop the Acropolis in Athens. The Parthenon is not just a temple, it is a symbol of ancient Greek civilization, a crowning achievement